Hi, English 111 students. I want to welcome you to Module 7. This is the module where you will write your last essay for this class. Yay, you made it. Good job. So keep pressing forward. This is no time to slack, although I know this is a really busy time of semester for students and faculty alike. So push through, really be on top of your time management, especially because this essay is also going to require research, just like the cause and effect essay did. So keep pushing on. You're almost done. So let's talk a little bit about the essay that you're going to be writing in this module. This essay is perhaps one of the key types of writing that you will want to have in your back pocket as you move forward with your education career. It is the argument essay. I would say that all good writing is argument, because here's what argument is. It is the reasonable and logical presentation of a claim, something that you are trying to prove is true. It's going to be your thesis. And then the powerful and logical presentation of different points of support that help prove that that claim is true. Really, all good writing does that. It has a point, and it tries to prove to you that point, or tries to support it, or tries to explain it. And so at its heart, all good writing is argument, especially in the academic world. So this particular essay is going to ask you to take a stance, make a claim. This is true. This is something that should be done or should not be done, either way. And then you're going to prove it. Your ultimate purpose is to be so complete and so thorough and logical in the way that you have supported that claim that an audience, not just me, but any audience who reads this would be persuaded or at least convinced to think about it and perhaps agree with you. So here's what I want you to think about. First, read the assignment sheet very carefully. I've put a list of topics that you cannot write about. And they're just simply because these are topics that every English teacher has read 1,000 times at least. So make sure you read the assignment sheet and do not choose one of those topics on the not to be done list. So just be really aware of that. I would love it if you would choose a topic that has something to do with you, that you're actually engaged in, or even with your topic, your major and the program of study that you're in. So for example, a sample thesis that I've posted here in this module down on the discussion boards has to do with arguing that schools, especially high schools, should start later in the morning because a teenager's body just doesn't function all that well with very little sleep. And because of the changes in the body and the brain, schools should start later. That student who wrote that paper was going into education. So it made total sense. It was a fantastic topic, great thesis. And so I want you to challenge yourself to kind of think in terms of your particular field or your life and what matters to you, and choose a topic there. Your thesis is going to be the claim. It is your statement of your side of this argument. It may help to think in terms of should or should not. Like the example in this module, school start times should be later for teenage students. That's a good statement because as a reader, I now clearly know what side of this issue that writer is on. And so now I'm set up to read the rest of the essay going, okay, I see your point. Now prove it to me. And then look at the supporting points. So then each body paragraph is going to be one point that directly supports that thesis. So think about connecting every single point in your body paragraphs directly and obviously back to your thesis. Remember, I do not live inside your head. So if you don't make the connections between your thoughts, so between the points that you're making and your thesis, then I have a hard time following them too. So as a reader, I'm even further removed from that process. So do it for me. Make it really obvious how your points support your thesis. So ultimately, you want to be that so appealing to your audience that by the time they're done reading, they go, you have something there. Even if they don't totally agree with you and you haven't completely like won them over, you've still presented things in such a way that it's so appealing and so attractive to your audience that they at least say, all right, I see where you're coming from. I see what you're doing there. So I want you to think about a few things. So first of all, the most important way to appeal to an audience is to make your points and your argument as logical and as clear and as reasonable as possible. So this isn't the place for like attacking people on the other side of the issue or anything like that. You're simply presenting your side in a very clear, logical way. Now, it may make sense, and often does, to address the opposing side and say, I get it. I understand what they're saying. Here's why it doesn't work. So in the example thesis of school times should be later in high school, the opposing side says, well, even if it's better for students physically, this is going to be very difficult logistically because our society and our culture is set up so that parents, caregivers, and siblings and everything else is running between these set times. If we change high school to run through a different set of times, then we run the risk of throwing everything kind of out of balance and making it very difficult for some families to afford childcare or after school programs or after school care. Another argument the other side may say is, well, if they go later, when are the football teams going to practice? When are bands going to practice? When is the drama club going to rehearse? Because we use those after school hours and they're so important in high school. If we bump everything later, then those activities are going until 8 or 9 o'clock on a regular basis. I know they sometimes do anyway. So sometimes it does make sense to address the other side and say, I get it. I see their concerns. Here are their points. Let me address them and let me answer them and show why this side, my side, will work and is a good option. The other way you want to appeal to your audience is to present very strong academic research. This is why it's so key to learn how to use those databases with the one search box. And if any of my assignments or anything say NC Live, it's because that's what that used to be called. So the one search includes NC Live. And finding those professional articles that are written by experts in the field are going to help build your argument in a way that makes it much more convincing. If you just pull from blogs or just general websites, that's not as convincing. And in fact, it can hurt your appeal to an audience because if that's what you're using as research, I don't really feel like I can trust what you're saying. So really think about the research you present. And then finally, think about your word choice. This is something that we've discussed all semester long. It's something that I've given feedback on your essays all semester long. The more powerful your word choice and the more concrete it is, even if you present like an image or a short narrative, or you just choose really strong verbs and good vocabulary, that's automatically more appealing to an audience than an argument that is simplistic or just not written very well. So word choice, your editing process at the very end before you submit that essay, use that. So do your research, pick a strong topic, take some time to write your shitty first draft, give yourself a chance to kind of process through that. Remember that Annie Lamott reading that we talked about early in the semester? Use that process. And then really challenge yourself to think, how is this argument appealing to my audience? In this module on your discussion boards, there are 2 this time around, so just be aware you've got posts on 2 due at the same time. On one of them, you'll be sharing your topic and your points that you want to make. and then helping other students out with their points. I made a note in that discussion board, this is not a place to argue about the topic. So don't just go into another student's post and be like, well, you're wrong. This is a stupid thesis. That's not the point of this discussion board. So please don't do that. The other discussion board is going to have you watch a video of astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is highly entertaining and just ridiculously brilliant. You're going to watch him discuss the movie Interstellar. Even if you've never seen the movie, it's okay. It doesn't matter because he's talking about the science. And you're going to analyze it and say, here's how he is appealing. And you're going to use the Greek rhetorical appeals, these classical appeals that are still what we use today. We just don't always call them the Greek classical appeals, but you will be using those. And then you'll have a journal and then your essay. I look forward to seeing what you write. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or give me a call during my office hours, which are posted on the syllabus. Office hours are also posted online. If you go to our website and check the directory and search for an instructor, you'll see their hours. So I look forward to seeing what you write, and have a good couple of weeks.